so there was sort of the fundamental analysis, but let's check this. The chart master says these problems could be here to stay. Cornerstone Macro's Carter Worth over at the Plasma to break it down. How are they looking from a chart perspective, Carter?
Well, you guys touched on it. It's really as simple as this. I think it's index construction. We know the weightings in financials and tech are so different in small versus large cap that is essentially when one makes a bet on one versus the other, making a bet on where one's to be overweight or underweight, those two. But let's look at the charts first. So here's the Russell 2000 on top, and here's its relative performance to the S&P on the bottom, right? However you want to explain it, we know that this is continuing to do this as this does this, right? So is that because of tech and the big names that are driving it? Sure. But what is fascinating is it's not new. This is now a 2-year chart. Same thing. All of this, well, first thing to point out is, of course, it's yet to make a new high. Tim referred to that. And yet all of this so-called advance, there's no alpha, meaning the choice made to be here versus here, not a winner. Let's pull it back even further. Now we're looking at a 5-year chart. Let's do it again. Look even longer. In fact, what we know is that this is right now making 10-year relative lows. So one could say, oh, I made all this money in the Russell, but you could have done better if you were in the other index, the bigger index. And here is going back 15 years. We are basically plumbing 15-year relative lows. And it has a lot to do with the weighting in financials and tech. So the chart itself, here's the high. We've yet to make that high. And I suspect that we are at risk of one of two things. Frankly, maybe even putting in something of a double top, or at least getting to the high and getting stuck for a long time. But I think one wants to remain underweight IWM.
All right, Carter, why don't you come on over? Let's trade this here. All
Bring
right,
them in.
Pretty clear double top there. I mean, on the IWM. But sometimes you want to buy when it's looking the bleakest. Anybody taking a swing at the IWM or small caps?
Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, again, get back to what this week was and what next week is. Today, especially, a payroll number where, if anything, like it's not rapid, but there's no denying that the labor market is slowly softening. The year-over-year trends are not as good, but they were going to be tough to be challenged to be better. We have financials reporting next week. When you think about it, he talked about the weightings of financials and tech and what's what. Look, financials are earning their stripes again. And I think if you look at the bank earnings of next week, I think what we're going to see is that, or hear from the companies, not so great on the earnings trend and a market that actually wants to own them for weightings reasons that they're probably underweight.
May I ask Carter a quick question? Yeah. I think you might have an answer to this. Will the underperformance of the Russell correct itself by the S&P 500 selling off? Will that how that performance sort of level out?
Right. So does the S&P succumb and the small cap also get worse? But again, back to construction, and I'll try to answer. I don't think I have the answer, but you're basically making a bet on tech. The weighting in the Russell 2000 in tech is 13. It's 23 in the S&P. The weighting in financials is 18 in the small cap, and it's only 13 in the S&P. So those are the two big swing factors. So you're making a call by making a call not on the economy. Or you're saying, if I want to be in small caps, I'm betting against tech, and I'm betting basically on higher interest rates because the regional banks will need that in order to. And my hunch is I don't think interest rates
won't that hurt
higher.
the REITs, which also make up about 10%? So it's kind of
It's a little bit of that. But basically, essentially, it's what you've all implied in the conversation before I jumped on, which is it's so dependent on a handful of super cap names. But that's what moral hazard's all about. Ultimately, that's the risk for the market.